Hi everyone, I'm David Aragona, and welcome to DRF Best Bets, where DRF Handicappers give their opinions on races from around the country for the upcoming weekend. On this episode, we've got opinions coming from Brad Free, Nicole Russo, Mike Beer, and myself, but we'll get to my opinion at the end of the show. Let's start off by seeing who Brad likes this weekend.
Thanks, David. The best bet on Saturday at Santa Anita is in race number 5. It's a 1 mile grass race for 2-year-old maiden fillies. And I like the chances of a filly we've never seen before, at least not in the U.S. Her name is Lucky Girl, and she's listed at odds of 7-2. There are several reasons to like her chances. First of all, she can flat run. Her career debut at Gowran Park in Ireland was very impressive. She broke last. She lost ground early. She finished with run. That race was dominated by the 1-2 pace setters. And Lucky Girl finished well and galloped out super past the wire. If you don't want to take my word for it, you can check out the replay at racingtv.com, RACINGTV.com, a good source for European race replays. Well, Lucky Girl subsequently was sold privately and showed up in California, trained now by Richard Baltus. She has trained extremely well, worked extremely well, Lucky Girl has, for her U.S. debut, and she faces a relatively modest group of fillies. A couple fillies coming out of the Cairo Memories race. Cairo Memories won that maiden race, came back and won the Surfer Girl last weekend. Both Peanut Butter Cup and Let Freedom Reign finished okay behind Cairo Memories, but they were not nearly as impressive as Lucky Girl. I like the chances of Lucky Girl to win race 5 on Saturday at Santa Anita.
My best bet this weekend is going to be Classic Causeway, who goes in the Grade 1 Breeders' Futurity on Saturday at Keeneland. If you watched out of the gate this week, you know he's from the final crop of Giants Causeway, and that means he is bred to go long. In addition to having that route-loving European Horse of the Year, second in the Breeders' Cup Classic on top, his dam is by classic sire Thunder Gulch. She was a stakes winner at 7 furlongs, stakes placed in 1 mile and a 16th. Certainly this kind of middle distance of the futurity, if not more, should be well within his scope. He's already run and won at 7 furlongs, so that's a nice foundation. And that was a class debut. He beat a next out winner in Trafalgar, and if you look at the chart, you'll see that that one was not gaining on him down the lane. Trafalgar came back and won a mile maiden at Churchill with a solid 81 buyers stepping forward from that debut. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some other nice horses out of that race. There were some nice pedigrees in there. Classic Causeway himself earned a 90 buyer for that debut victory. That's the best number in the futurity field by 10 points. He could regress. He could lose a little ground from that outside post, and he still might be the best horse in this race from a number perspective. Let's get over to Mike and see who he thinks is a quality horse this weekend.
Thanks, Nicole. I'm going to go to Belmont Park for my best bet on Saturday. They have a couple of graded stakes races on the Saturday card. My best bet's going to be in one of those, race number 7. It is the Grade 1 Joe Hirsch Turf Classic, 1.5 miles for older horses on the turf course. My best bet of the weekend is going to be number 2, Arklow. And this is just a horse who, in my personal opinion, in each of his last 3 starts, this is a horse who, surrounding the Breeders' Cup last year, going to Mount, actually ran a decent race to be beaten less than 4 lengths against a great field. He had won all 3 of his starts surrounding that Breeders' Cup, all of those races at 1.5 miles. And since then, I just don't care for the trips or rides this horse has gotten in any of his last 3 starts. All of them losses. We'll put up a replay of his most recent one. This is last month at Kentucky Downs, the Turf Cup. But I could have put up the replay of any one of his last 3 where I just feel like he got ridiculous rides where for some reason Florent Geroux has decided this horse has no speed anymore and takes him back to last. It really blows up in his face here at Kentucky Downs. He's rated despite traveling very strongly, doesn't get out into the clear, winds up in traffic through the stretch. You see him there trying to split horses there to get a run in the stretch. He gets totally shut off and stopped, and then he has to alter course. He's regathered at the end and is trying to get up there to close down this horse on the lead. He just can't, he runs out of time and he can't get up. I thought he ran well again. I think this horse is in much better form than it appears. And I think he is a horse getting a rider change to Jose Lezcano for this race that can be more forward in his races, as he was when he won this turf classic 2 years ago in 2019, running down Channel Maker, who is maybe the horse to beat in this race, as he looks like he could be loose on the lead in here. Arklow 6-1 on the morning line. At anything like that price, I'm willing to make him my best bet and just hope he gets a much better trip this time, because I do think he's good enough to beat this field. He'll be my best bet for Saturday. Let's throw this thing over to David and let him close it out.
My best bet of the weekend comes in race 8 at Keeneland on Saturday. It is the Grade 1 First Lady going a mile on the turf for the fillies and mares. It is a wide open field of 13 runners led by the number 3 Altica, who's looking to make it 3 Grade 1 scores in a row in the United States after she took down the Just a Game and the Diana earlier in the year. This, though, is the deepest field that she's yet had to face in the U.S., and she matches up against a few Chad Brown runners, all of whom have a chance. The number 9 Blowout has plenty of early speed. She's likely to set the pace, but I'm most interested in another Chad Brown trained runner, also from the Peter Brandt stable, and that is the number 6 Regal Glory. Let's take a look at Regal Glory's last out victory at Saratoga when she won the De La Rose going the same 1 mile distance. I was really impressed with Regal Glory this day. Even though she was beating a weaker field, she overcame a slow pace. They went pretty moderate fractions up front, and she had to really sprint through the stretch to run down Hendy Woods, who got a much better trip than her in this spot, and I love the turn of foot that she displays through the final 1/8 of a mile of this race. Now, prior to this, Regal Glory had been beaten by Altica in the Just a Game when she was 4th when Altica won, but I thought that Regal Glory got the worst of it from a trip standpoint that day. She was off slowly, wide, and too rank at the back of the pack, just never really in a position to make an impact, whereas Altica came up the rail and got a perfect trip from Mike Smith. I think Regal Glory is subtly in better form than it appears because she's been against it from dynamics and trip standpoint in her last 2 races, and if you look at the Time Form US speed figures, her speed figures of 120 and 121 stack up very well against the favorite Altica. Regal Glory's 5-1 on the morning line. I think we're going to get an even better price than that because her stablemate Blowout, I think, will get bet down quite a bit from her 8-1 line, so I think we could get somewhere in the 6-1 to 8-1 range on Regal Glory, and that seems like a fair price to me in the First Lady on Saturday at Keeneland. Thanks for watching DRF Best Bets, and good luck if you're playing this weekend.